welcome back to This Teacher Thing. I call my channel This Teacher Thing because I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I'm a follower of Jesus, and being a teacher is just one of the things I do. So this is just This Teacher Thing. And today I thought I would talk to you about a few things that I don't do, or maybe I once did them, but I don't do them anymore as a teacher. So the first thing that I used to do and I don't really do anymore is spend a lot of time like decorating my room or doing a bunch of cutesy stuff. So I don't do really cute door decorations or holiday decorations unless I just want to. I do like to put a tree up around Christmas, but I just don't spend a lot of time on that extra fluffy stuff. I don't have really cute bulletin boards. I don't come up with activities that are just cute. I don't set up things in my classroom that are just there because they seem fun or cute. I don't have time for that kind of stuff, guys. I need everything in my classroom to be really purposeful and meaningful for my students. And the nature of my job as a teacher of preschoolers with special needs is that everything in the classroom has to be tailored to them and their needs. So it's already a lot of work to set things up the way they need to be for my students. It involves a lot of making tasks and using picture cues and a lot of taking pictures or finding pictures, laminating things, cutting things out because they're going to use these pictures for communication, not because the pictures are cute and fun to have. I abhor cutting out things, laminating and gluing, but it's just the nature of the job now. So I do that kind of stuff when it's going to serve a purpose and be really useful to my students in achieving their goals. But I don't do cutesy stuff just to be cute or to make my room look pretty. That's just one of the things that I have had to let go as I strive for more work-life balance because I don't want to spend the time doing it. Along the same lines, the second thing that I don't really do anymore is spend hours and hours outside of my contract hours working at school. Now, granted, as a teacher, you do have to put in extra hours. It's impossible to get it all done. I don't even get a planning time, so I have to be really strategic. But I used to bring home like 2 hours of work every night and come up on the weekends to the school building on Saturdays and work for like 4 hours every weekend. And I don't do that anymore. I've gotten a lot better at planning my time, and I use a tool that I actually got from another YouTuber teacher, and I cannot remember who it was. But she had this daily list that she made where she would plan out all of her free moments of the day, like her few minutes before school, minutes at lunch, minutes while the kids were at a special. My kids don't go to a special, they're with me all day. But any free moment, what are you going to actually get accomplished before school, after school, at home, etc. So I did that. And I made this list. I don't know how well you can see it. I may have to get a different view for you. Ooh, the light. But I just have along the side here, it says before school, lunch, during nap. So we do have a rest time, and sometimes rest time is busy because sometimes the kids aren't doing well and I have to be right with them for the whole nap time. But occasionally everyone's settling down nicely. Some of the kids are sleeping, some of the kids are quietly reading, looking at books. And that's when I could get some planning done because I don't actually have a planning time. So if the kids are being good during nap time, I say being good, but if they're able to rest during nap time, then I can get some things done. So I have nap time, I have after school, I have home and family obligations that I write down, and then I have other. I know this is all backwards to you. And then I have the days of the week. So in advance, like when I fill out my lesson plans, every week I also fill out one of these. And I will keep just on a notepad a running list of my to-dos. and then I go in and I actually schedule them. So if I have something due, I will go and actually write in at what time am I going to fill out that paperwork and take it to the office. If I need to make copies, I'll actually schedule it in. I'm going to make copies before school on Tuesday. If I need to send an important email, I'll write down when I'm going to do that. During lunch on Monday, I need to send an email. So I schedule in everything that I need to get done, and I do my best to stick to that. Of course, if I schedule things at nap time and then somebody has a meltdown and I don't get to do any work during nap time, it has to get pushed to another place. But that's what I do, is I just reschedule it to a different time in the week. So this little to-dos has been super important to me in not spending so much time at school. Now I do have, sometimes on Sundays I'll spend maybe about an hour making sure I have everything organized and ready for the week. But I really try to now get ahead. I start penciling in, working on my next week's lesson plans, typically on Wednesday of the week before. So that on Thursday and Friday, I can pencil in time to make copies, gather materials, make tasks, cut out anything that needs to be cut out, whatever it is, so that I'm not scrambling to do that on a Sunday. But I do spend some time still on Sunday evenings, but it's only like maybe an hour working on those kind of last minute things. Or sometimes I have to, go to the store and buy some supplies that I need, because we do certain art activities or we do cooking activities, and I'll have to pick up the groceries I need for that. But otherwise, I have days of the week where I have to leave fairly early. All of my kids are picked up by 4 to 4:15, and I might have to leave by 4:30 because I've got to get home in time to make some dinner for my kids and take them to karate, or I've got to make dinner before we go to small group that night. I do have one day a week that I intentionally stay till 5 p.m. and that is on Tuesdays. And then I typically stay kind of late actually on Fridays, just trying to get everything set up for the next week. But Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, I leave by 4:30. So my kids are all done being picked up by 4:15. I come into the classroom, tidy up some things, spend about 15 minutes setting up things for the next day, materials I need to pull out. And then typically in the mornings, we have a late start school. So our school doesn't officially start till 9:15 and the kids start arriving at 8:45. So because of that, I get to school around 8 to 8:15. Earlier, some days when I have meetings, every Thursday we have our PLT meetings, which are like our department meetings, and those are at 7:45 in the morning. But typically I get to school around 8 or 8:15, and I spend 30 to 45 minutes before school taking care of things that I need for that day, or trying to get ahead on whatever I need to get ahead on. I don't come much earlier or stay much later, also because I have my son with me. I have a 9-year-old with me hanging out in my classroom, and if I need to get up and go to work early, I have to get him up earlier. And if I'm staying late, he's staying with me late. And those days become super long for him. So I try not to do that. So that was a really long way of saying that I don't stay for hours at school or do hours and hours up at school on the weekends anymore. I have more balance of how many hours I'm spending outside of contract hours doing work for school. So that was the second thing. The third thing that I don't do anymore is I don't buy fancy planners. And I know that planners are, planners are a really cool thing. A lot of people love them. They love all the stickers and, having a really organized, pretty book to use. And some of that appeals to me too. But I find that planners aren't always super functional for me, and that the things I most need are a monthly calendar and lots of space to write notes. Because I do my actual lesson plans in a template that I made in Google Docs. Actually, I handwrite them, so I print out the template, and I really prefer handwriting things. I'm super old school that way. but I like to get out my colored pens and I write into my lesson plan, and it's very basic and I don't have to worry about formatting or accidentally deleting something. I just jot in everything I need for the week, and then I go and I pull out my copy of my weekly to-do list and I write down where am I going to get all of my extra things done this week. And then what I use is just this spiral bound notebook. This is actually kind of a nice one. It's pretty. It has a hardcover, like this is a thicker cardboard. This is just a spiral notebook. And what I did was I went to the dollar store and I got a calendar. I think they were selling it around back to school time as a student calendar, a student agenda pages, but they were just monthly calendar pages, and it was on really cheap flimsy paper. And so I took all of those months and I just trimmed them and glued them into the front of my spiral. So let me find a place where I haven't written any personal information. All right, so here's my spiral, and then in the front I have all of my calendar pages that I glued in. I just glued them in. So they're glued in here with my good old glue stick. And then I'm just able to, you know, if I'm at a meeting and I'm over here in my notes section taking notes, and then they say, you know, and then on this day, don't forget blah, blah, blah. I just flip to my calendar and I write it down, you know, real quickly what I need to do in my calendar. So yeah, I mean, this is what I just love having lots of paper to write notes, and then I really just need a calendar. So I know that, you know, the Happy Planners and the Erin Condren planners are super awesome for some people, but for me, it's not really that functional and they're expensive. So, you know, this was like, I think, I don't know, $4 for this spiral thing. I spent like $1 on the calendar pages that I glued into the front, and this works awesome for me in combination with my lesson plan template that I do from the computer, my to-do pages, and that's how I keep organized. So no more fancy planners for me. Alrighty, so the third thing that I don't do, and I actually never have done, is I do not text or have Facebook friends that are parents of my students. So I do not give out my cell phone number, and I do not accept friend requests or friend parents of my students on Facebook. That is just a boundary that I really have to set to keep my personal life separate from my school life. I think it's just wise to do it that way. And there are so many other ways to communicate with parents these days. You know, you can set up websites, you can use things like Seesaw, and I know there's so many other communication apps that work via text but don't share your personal information. So yeah, so just having boundaries is really important. So I don't text with parents, I don't friend parents on Facebook. Let's see, another thing that I don't do anymore that I used to do more, and this comes partly with my job, is spend a lot of time trying to look super cute for work. Like making sure I have a really cute outfit and matching jewelry, and that my hair is super cute, and that I spend a lot of time on my makeup. And those are all things that I actually do enjoy. And I do those things more like when I get dressed to go out with my husband on a date night, or when I get dressed up for church. But I don't spend a lot of time on those things anymore. As I said, part of that is the nature of my job, that I teach preschool, so I am constantly on the floor, in the sandbox, going on walks. We are working with, you know, special needs children. We're working with feeding. We're working with toileting and diapering. We're working with art and glue and sequins and paint and finger paint and who knows what else. And all of that can end up all over me. So I don't even wear my most favorite clothes to work. I'm not allowed to wear jeans except for on spirit days, or every Friday. So on Fridays, I wear jeans and a school t-shirt almost always. But the other 4 days of the week, I keep it super simple. I have a few pairs of just like twill pants from Old Navy that I wear, and like a pair of khaki pants that are wide leg. I don't really wear dresses because I'm getting up and down off the floor, and nobody wants to see something that they shouldn't see when you're getting up and down off the floor with preschoolers. So yeah, I have a few pair of pants that I wear. I change out a few different tops, but I'm not wearing my most favorite things, and I don't wear hardly any jewelry. I can't wear anything dangly because, you know, with the group of kids I'm working with, it could get yanked or pulled. So I typically just wear stud earrings, and I will wear this little cross necklace, and I have to wear like my lanyard with my ID on it, but I often end up taking my lanyard off in the classroom because it gets in the way when I'm working with students. So I keep everything super simple. I have a separate little makeup bag that I put some really easy makeup in. Like I have a concealer, a powder, a blush, an eyeshadow, a mascara, a lip gloss. Like super basic, so I can like do my makeup in the car if I have to, do my makeup in the downstairs bathroom while I'm also trying to make my son's lunch if I have to, you know, like 5-minute kind of makeup. Because I mean, this is preschool and they don't really care. But I was kind of that way even when I taught other grades too. So I think when I was first teaching, you know, the first maybe 5 to 8 years, I taught middle school, and I did really want to dress cute, and I felt like being fashionable was one way that middle schoolers would respect me more, and maybe that was true, but it was really more about building relationships. But I did spend more time on hair and makeup in those days, and these days, y'all, I ain't got no time for that. I got to get ready fast, and I don't want to have to spend extra time. So keep it simple. And so the last thing that I want to talk about is something that I don't do, and that is that I will not stay at a job that makes me miserable. And I have had several teaching jobs over the years. I started teaching in 2013. And most of the time when I switched jobs, I was changing because we were moving. But there have been times where I needed a change, and so I just resigned at the end of a school year and looked for something else. And that's what happened between last year and this year. Guys, I really feel like life is too precious and too short to be stuck in a job that you hate. And there is no rule that says that you have to stay there. If you don't like your job, whatever it is, do whatever you can to find something new. And if that means that you need to get more knowledge, if you have to get some training or go back to school for a couple more classes, or take a test to add something to a certification, do it. You are so worth it. You are so worth it to be happy, to be in a job that brings you joy. And you know, every job has its ups and downs. Every job has its challenges, but your job should not leave you angry, miserable, crying every day. It should be a place you don't dread to go. It should be a good part of your life. And so I wish that for all of you. I pray that God brings you your best job if you're not feeling like you're in that situation right now. And I just encourage you to, you know, if you're in that situation where you don't like your job, you know, is there any way that you could make changes to where you are to make it more enjoyable, or do you need to just look for something else? Really think about that, because you spend 40 hours or more a week at your job. You probably see more of your coworkers than you see of your spouse and your kids. It's got to be a place that you like to be. So I'm not willing to stay in a job that I hate anymore, and I hope that you're not either. So yeah, guys, that was like, I don't know, 6 or 7 things that I don't do anymore. So to recap, it was I don't spend a lot of time on decorating or cutesy stuff. I don't spend hours and hours and hours at school or at home working on school stuff. I have more boundaries for getting my work done. I don't text or have Facebook with parents of my students. I have boundaries there. I don't have a fancy planner. I just use a notebook, a calendar, and some templates from my computer that I really like. I don't spend a ton of time on hair and makeup and clothes. I just keep it pretty simple, and I'm not willing to stay at a job that I hate anymore. I want the best for me, and the best me helps me be a better mom and wife for my family. So thanks so much for joining me for this video on this teacher thing, and I hope to see you around for the next one. Bye.